Okay, what do we want to choose next? What about problem 5? Okay, so in 1980, 21%. In 2010, 27%. Assuming the relationship, X represents number of years after 1980. So what does 1980 represent? Very good. And percentage of college students who are liberal is linear. So a linear relationship. Find the year, so find the relationship, and then find the year in which, assuming the model still holds, the percentage of college students who are liberal increases to 50%. So eventually we want to determine this. But first, we're asked to find the relationship. Okay, what is given to us in this problem? What are these? Especially when we talk about a linear relationship, what can I be given? You know, to find an equation of a line, what do I need?
Rate of change.
Correct. And before I find the rate of change, what do I need?
Years after.
I need 2 points. I cannot find the slope of a line without 2 points, right? I don't have a way. In calculus, we have a way of determining the slope of a tangent line if we have only 1 point. But here we don't. So then, can anyone address the points for us? So every time I hear linear, I have to think of rate of change, and I have to think of a 2 points that are given. Otherwise, I can't find the slope. So can anyone come up with 2 points for us?
So the point for 1980 would be 0, 21.
Very good.
Point for 2010 would be 30, 27.
Excellent.
And to determine the rate of change is delta Y over delta X.
Exactly. So this is 27 minus 21 over 30 minus 0. So which is 6 divided by 30, or 1/5. We need the measurement unit. Obviously, the percent increases. By how much? So the measurement unit for the top is percent, and the measurement unit for the bottom is students. So every year, the percent increases by 0.2. Right? So percent per student per year, because so this is, it says,
No, so percent of freshmen per
yes, percent of yes, per, so percent of college students who are liberal increases. So because X is number of years, is per year. Percent per year. Good. So I have that. Now look carefully at these 2 points, because if you remember, we have 2 equations available. Y equals mx plus b, or y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. Which one would you recommend?
I would recommend the first one because we have
The y-intercept. Exactly. So 0, 21 is exactly this. B is 21. And m is 1/5. So the equation is indeed y equals 1/5 plus 21. Now the second part, find the year in which the percentage increases to 50%. what is given to us and what we need to do. I replace, exactly, I replace y by 50. 1/5 x plus 21. I have to subtract 21, and I get 29 equals 1/5 x. So then x will be 29 times 5. 145. So 145 years since 1980. Quite a lot. We have to wait for that. Okay, good. So this is done as well. Next question, please. What about problem 7? Is that a yes? Okay. So for problem 7, we have 1 minus x over 2x plus 6 greater than 0. What type of equation is it? I'm sorry. What type of inequality is this? Yes, rational inequality. Is it table or chart ready? So the left-hand side has to be a product or a ratio, and it is, of factors, right? And the right-hand side must be 0. Must be 0 for the table to work. So yes, we have the left-hand side, which is a ratio. We have the right-hand side, which is 0. So we are ready to create a table with the first factor at the top, the second factor as the next row, and the ratio as the final row that we are interested in. Now we need to put in 2 numbers. Now I have to find those numbers. Why 2? Because there are only 2 factors. If I had 3, 4, 5 factors, I would have had, depending on their degree and so on and so forth, so I would have had something for all, potentially. So where is 1 minus x 0 for x equals? Perfect. Where is 2x plus 6 0 for x equals? Perfect. So in order from left to right, I have to put -3 first and 1 next. So we determine the so-called zeros of those 2 factors. So there is a 0 in a row for 1 minus x. Under? Perfect. There is a 0 for the row of 2x plus 6. Under? Perfect. So now when x is -3, what happens to this whole fraction? It does not exist. When the denominator is 0, the fraction does not exist. Very good. So now what happens when x is 1? Then it's 0. Now, careful, this is tricky here, because normal expression should be this. To identify, because it's easier to identify that the leading coefficient is negative, and in order to find a sign, if you're using my method, if you don't, you can just plug it in and you get the sign. So this, if you want to graph it, looks like this, decreasing. So it's coming from positive numbers, it crosses at 1 and then goes to negative. Or you simply plug in numbers. The other one looks like this. So it's coming from negative values and going to positive. And now on the first subinterval, what is the sign of the outcome of the ratio? Perfect. Perfect. In the middle? And then negative. Only now I look at this and I ask myself, which sign do I pick? Positive. Is this ever positive? Yes, it is right here. So then I have to pick the corresponding x values. So I have between -3 and 1. And both are parentheses. This one has to be parenthesis because it's -3. The reason why 1 is a parenthesis because there is no equal symbol here. Any questions? Let's look at 9. When we decompose a function, so h of x, 1 over the square root of 2x minus 1. We want to decompose it. I would like an inner and an outer.
And that is 2x minus 1.
Perfect? So then I get a number here. And then which function do I apply to this number? Very good. Great. Any questions? Please ask if you have any doubts. Let's look at problem 11. F of x, -x squared plus 46x minus 360. Models a daily profit, f of x, in hundreds of dollars for a company that manufactures x computers daily. How many computers should be manufactured every day to maximize profit? And what is the maximum profit? So, what type of function? Yes,
So,
Brian?
yeah, I was assuming this is one of those where we can tell from the function, the shape of it. So, since we know it's quadratic, it's got to be parabola, but it's negative, so it faces down.
Exactly.
So we have
Because
to
the
find the maximum.
Exactly. How do I find it? The maximum or minimum for a parabola, they're both called vertex. So I have to find the coordinates of the vertex. So now the question is, how do I find the x coordinate? Because once I find the x, I find the y. Awesome. Negative. But be careful in case the function is not given in descending order. You have to rearrange it first to identify correctly. B is 46, and 2 times A is -2. So this is 23. So if they manufacture 23 computers, not 21, not 22, not 24, exactly 23, because the vertex is only 1 point, the peak, the maximum. If they manufacture 23 computers, what would be the maximum profit now? F of x gives us the profit in hundreds of dollars. So how do I find the maximum profit? I know that they have to manufacture 23, but they also want to know how much the profit will be. How do I find it? Put it in. Very good. So f of 23 equals -23 squared plus 46 times 23 minus 360. So let's take a look. Plus 46 times 23 and minus 360. I got 169 hundredths. 16900. So if they manufacture, and assuming that they're selling, right? Because if they're just putting them on the shelf, it's not going to do anything. So if they manufacture 23 a day and they sell them, then they have a profit of 16,900 a day. Okay. Anything else from test 4 would you like to go back to? So on the last page, We have, for the given sequence, find the first 4 terms. If you want to simplify this, we can. Find the sum after you write out all terms. We can determine this. Express the sum using the summation notation or sigma notation. And for the given sequence given in a form of a recursive form, find the first 4 terms. So do we need anything from this page? Number 20? Yes, this is number 20. Very good. So we have a1 equals 1 and an equals 2 times an minus 1 plus 3, of course, from 2 on, because a1 is given to us. So they want us to find the first 4 terms. a1 is already given to us. We have to find a2, and we have to find a3, and we have to find a4. So now what does the formula tell us? It says that any term of the sequence will be obtained by multiplying the previous term by 2 and adding 3 to it. So the first term is given to us, so this is 1. 2 times 1 is 2 plus 3 is 5, so that will be a2. But now a3 will be 2 times the previous term. Now this is 5 plus 3, 13. And now the last one, this is 2 times 13 because it's the previous one, plus 3. So this is 26 plus 3, 29. So anything else from this page? $18. Find the sum. Very good. So this is the sum from I equals 1 through 5 from 2i squared minus 3. So how many terms do I have to present? Yes, when I is 1, when I is 2, when I is 3, 4, and 5. So can anyone give us the first term when I is 1? Perfect. Plus when I is 2. Very good. Plus when I is 3. Very good. Plus when I is 4. So this was 1, 2, 3, 4. 16 times 2, 32, minus 3, 29. And the last one when I is 5. 25 times 2, 50, minus 3, 47. So I know that this is 20, and this is 76. So this is 86 minus 1, 85. I'm sorry, 96 minus 1, 95. What about 17? We want to simplify 17? Okay, so 17 is 40 factorial divided by 4 factorial times 38 factorial. Any suggestions on this problem? Not factorial, but 40 multiplied by 39 multiplied by factorial. Okay, over 4 times, yes. I wanted to write it, but that's fine. We can write it the next time so that we can simplify. And now I will do this. So 40 times 39 over 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So 4 times 2 is 8. 40 divided by 8 is 5. 3 and 39 will be 13. So the answer is 65. Let's express the sum from 19. Any questions on the previous problem? 5 cubed plus 6 cubed plus dot 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 plus 14 cubed. It doesn't matter which index you use. You can use I, K, and J. You cannot use N. You can, but we should use I, K, or J. I saw in some of your tests you used N. Okay, so let's say we use K. So we notice that this starts at 4, continues with 4 plus 1, continues with 5 plus 1, and so on and so forth till 14. So any idea of how to write? And of course, all of them are raised to the third power. But what do I put here? And how far do we go? Right here. This expression has to involve k, not n. Only k. So that when I have k equals, I get 4. Then the next one. The next k, I get 5 cubed. The next k, I get 6 cubed. There's more than one correct answer here. So I will write a k plus 3, and let's see what happens, and then we'll decide how far. When k is 1, 1 plus 3 is 4. When k is 2, 2 plus 3 is 5. When k is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6. But how far do I go? When k is, but then, yes. Is that clear why 11? Because 11 plus 3 will be 14. If I put 14, I will have in the next terms 14 plus 3, and that's 17, and I don't have 17 here. So this is the condensed sum of the sequence. Okay, what about problem 14? Any questions on this? Or what about 16? You tell me. You tell me. Choose. Very good. So now we are given the general term of the sequence, which is an equals -1 to the nth power, n plus 2 over n plus 1. So they want us to find a1, then a2, then a3, then a4. So let's write a1. Yes? Awesome. Good. Let's write a2. Very good. Let's write a3. Let's write a3. And the last one. That's it. Okay, let's choose another. Uh, 14. So in 2010, the population was 4,121 million. In 2050, it's projected to go to 5231. We're not there yet. Write the exponential growth model A of t, which is A0 e to kt, that describes the population of Asia in millions years after 2010, which means 2010 represents t equals, very good, okay, what is given to us in this problem? We're given 2 points, like we were given 2 points half an hour ago, right? And what are those 2 points? Yes? 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 Excellent. So these 2 points have to be put in the model. But now we have to be careful how to put them in. Can anyone dictate an equation that will represent this point? Something that signifies this. And it should be in a form of an equation. Yes. Very good. Yes. Yes. E. Excellent. Thank you. Perfect, Marcus. Okay, now I'm done with this. I would like an equation for the other one. Excellent. Yes? Very good. Awesome. This is what we need to identify the model, because the model has 2 unknowns. We don't know this, sort of, and we don't know this. Okay. The growth rate. Now, how much is k times 0? How much is e to 0? 1. So then we know for sure that a0 must be 4121, as we expected. Okay. Now, I will put it in the second equation, and I have 5231 equals 4121 times e to 40k. And now, this equation requires a step that some of you forgot on this past test. What is the step that we need? Not yet. If you do that, you mess up the problem. You potentially mess up the problem. It's not cleaned up. I don't recommend it. Will you eventually be able to get the solution if you apply log in this stage? Yes, but then you have to apply log applied to a product. So I'd rather not do that. But exactly. First of all, 5231 over 4121 equals e to 40k. This is the best step. The other one is fine, but it will take longer. Now, after it's completely cleaned up and ready to apply natural log, of course, I will apply natural log to both sides. So the left-hand side is natural log 5231 over 4121. The right-hand side is 40k because this is the only function that allows us to bring the power in front. And how much is natural log e? Very good. That's why we don't have to write it anymore. So I should write here natural log e, but it's 1. So then k equals natural log 5231 4121 over 40. I recommend for growth rate or radioactive decay rate, I will recommend 4 digits after the decimal. So natural log 5231 divided by 4121, and I divide by 40. So I got so K is approximately 0.00596. Since this is 6, I will increase to 0.0060. So here's the model then. A of t equals 4,121 million e raised to 0.006 t. That's all we were asked to find. We're not asked to find anything else. Just find the model that fits the given information. And that was this. I know we have only 3 minutes left, so please choose another problem. What about 1b? So this is 3x minus 1 squared equals 75. How do I solve such an equation? What type is it? It is quadratic, right? That's okay. So I will take the square root. This is typical for square root. So 75 is 25 times 3. I would write 3x minus 1. And what do I have to write on the other side? Can anyone tell us what to write? Yes. And then it's the square root of 25, which is 5, the square root of 3. I will move 1. So 3x equals 1 plus or minus 5, the square root of 3. And then x equals 1 plus or minus 5, the square root of 3, everything over 3. Which problem we want to look at? 1C, 1D. We still have time. 1C. So the square root of x minus 3 plus 5 equals x. I'm kindly asking you to complete the student opinion forms and redo your tests with solutions as many times as you can in preparation for the final exam. The last effort, please. Okay, what type of equation is it and what should I do? Even when you read it, it will tell you exactly what the equation is, what type. Just read it. Square root, of course. Or radical equation, square root equation, that's fine. Radical. Good. What do I have to do first?
So in order to remove the square root on the left, we have to square both sides.
Yes, but I have to isolate. Yes. Yes. So the square root of x minus 3 equals x minus 5. And yes, now, of course, I will square both sides because it's the only way. I'm applying the inverse operation. In exponential functions, I applied natural log because it was the inverse function. Here, I apply the square. I square both sides because it's the inverse function of the square root. So the left-hand side is x minus 3. But what does the right-hand side equal to? First day of classes. What do I have to write? Very good. So this is x squared. I subtract x minus 11x and I add 3 plus 28 equals 0. I'm hoping that it's factorable into, good. So x equals 4 and x equals 7, of course, with a big question mark. Because remember, we use the method that is not completely legitimate. So I have to go back with 4. So 4 minus 3 is 1. 1 plus the square root of 1 is 1. 1 plus 5 is 4. No. So now I will check 7. 7 minus 3 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. 2 plus 5 is 7. And I will say yes, only for 7. I went back to check 4, and it did not work.